Northbrook. I absolutely love these guys at Street Elementary.
They were a lot of fun.
Awesome. When you think of a 21 and under nightclub, what's the first thing that comes to mind? Is it a place where trouble's bound to arise? Or is it a safe place where your kids can have a good time with friends?
Well, a new nightclub has opened in Fruitland, located inside the Crown Sports Center. We sent Delmarva Life's Brian Spiros to talk about some of the most common nightclub myths that may have some parents worried.
Well, Jimmy and Lisa, Club Inferno opened last month, and you know, some people look at venues like this and think it's a positive for the community. However, there are those who also feel that it's a negative, and we're going to talk all about that. I want to introduce you now to Susie Hearn, who is the owner of the club. And Susie, the first question is, what made you guys want to open up a club like this here in town?
Well, I've worked with the youth of Delmarva for years, and I noticed that there wasn't anything for our teenagers to do. They want to hang out with each other, they want to talk, they want to dance, listen to music, and I thought this would be a great opportunity to provide a safe place for them to hang out.
We recently had a piece on WBOC News, which people may have seen, and a lot of parents sounded off about that in both a good and a bad way. And we're going to talk about some of the concerns. You know, first, let's talk about security and supervision. How will you guys be handling that here?
We have taken so many steps to ensure that this is a safe and secure place. First of all, it's in the Crown Sports Center, which is already a dry facility and a facility that caters to our families. Second, we have hired a professional security team, and we have a walk-through metal detector. We have our parking lot lit up so bright you could read a book out there. You can also see the parking lot from our elevated ramp. You can see very well. We also have security inside of the club, and they can supervise what's going on in here.
Let's also talk about identification. How will that be handled?
Well, we require ID to enter the club, and it has to be a school ID, it can be a state-issued ID, or you can get an ID from the Crown Sports Center for $10.
All right, so good for people to note there. The other thing we need to mention is kids can't come and go in and out once they're inside.
Correct. Once they come in, we don't allow them to go in and out, and again, that's part of our safety. We don't want them out in the parking lot unsupervised, and we don't want them driving around unsupervised.
So they can't go in and out. You know, an atmosphere like this can sometimes attract underage drinking and drugs. How will that be addressed?
Well, first of all, there's a lot of kids that don't drink and don't do drugs, and they just want to go somewhere and have fun. But if there is kids that are drinking or doing drugs, our security staff is trained to spot that. And we would address a minor that we thought was under the influence. We would call their parents as our first step.
All right, good to know. And you said they're well trained to spot if something is going on here.
Extremely well trained, as well as my staff is very well trained.
Now, the club is for those between the ages of 15 and 20, and you know, there may be some parents out there worried that their 15-year-old is going to be in a room with, 20-year-olds. How do you guys plan on handling that?
We are going to handle that by designating high school nights and college nights so that our high schoolers are not involved with our college kids.
Something else we should mention, you guys are open from 7:30 until 11:15, not till 2 or 3 in the morning, which is what the time a lot of people associate with clubs.
That's right. This whole building is oriented towards families, and this club is going to close at 11:15 so we can respect our kids' curfews, and if parents have to come pick them up, it's not going to be super late. I think it also should be mentioned that while the kids are exiting the building and getting into their cars, we have security in the parking lot with them, and we also have security on golf carts.
So security from the moment they arrive until they leave.
Yes, sir.
All right, Susie, a lot of good information. We thank you very much. We appreciate it. And of course, if you would like more information on Club Inferno, all you have to do is go to our website, delmarvalife.com, and click on the show tab.
Well, still ahead, baking cookies, a holiday tradition for many families, including mine. Up next, I'll share the recipe for one of my mother's favorite Christmas cookies. It's simple and delicious.
And while we're talking food, Dr. Oz has some suggestions on how to get that metabolism going again.
Hi, I'm Dr. Oz. Many women dread turning 40 when metabolism really begins to slow. Here's some tips to reverse the process. Cut 100 calories from your daily intake. Trim skin from chicken breast and swap mayo for mustard. Satisfy hunger with soluble fiber like brown rice. And drink oolong tea to block fat-building enzymes.